In this video, I'm going to share with you the only 3 things you need to get your first paid coaching clients. Now, most people are teaching all of this overwhelming stuff and all the technical things and marketing funnels and all that stuff. You don't need any of those things, especially if you're brand new or early on in your coaching journey. You just need what I'm about to share with you in this video to actually start getting paying clients as a coach. If you get caught up in all the confusion out there, I can guarantee you're going to be frustrated, you're going to be overwhelmed, and you will repel people from hiring you as a coach more than you're going to attract them. Hey everybody, on this edition, should it be in or on? We're going to talk about how to get your first paid coaching clients. And there's so much confusion in this conversation. There's so many overwhelming ideas and philosophies, and I want to keep it really simple for you. So I'm coming from the place of you're relatively new or brand new as a coach, and you're most interested in just getting coaching clients. So first of all, you don't have to have what you see in the market a lot or what you may have been told that you need to get coaching clients. You don't need to be a dynamic salesperson. You don't need a big old website. You don't need this fancy brand. You don't need a bunch of marketing funnels. You don't need a bunch of products. You don't need most of the things that you probably see in the market or maybe that you've been told that you need to just get coaching clients. So if you're like most people entering the coaching industry, you just want to help. You don't want to create this big old coaching company and enterprise with all the expenses and all the pressures and all that stuff. Maybe later on, and a lot of those things that I just mentioned you don't need are relevant at certain points, but not in the very beginning. The first thing is a conversation. Coaching is between 2 humans. You're a human and you got somebody else that's a human. You get them on the phone and you talk about helping them. That's really essentially what it's about. And you've got to show up to serve them. One of the things that's critical in coaching is that you seek to understand, not to be understood, and not to impress people and not to sell people. Especially in today's world, you've got to show up to serve people because people can feel the energetic pull when you're trying to sell to them or when they feel like they're being taken advantage of or somebody's just interested in getting money out of their wallet. So don't show up to sell them, show up to serve them. And I know that's kind of a cliche and we talk about that all the time, but one of the reasons we talk about it is because it's true. So when you are in a coaching conversation, and this is free by the way, don't make people pay to experience coaching. Unless you've been doing this for a long, long time and you've got this elevated credibility and authority. But if you're watching this video to get your first clients, you're not going to be in that situation. So I suggest you feed into what the market really demands nowadays, which is try before you buy. People want to consume your product. They want to consume your energy. They want to consume your ideas before they pay for something. So in your conversation, you are seeking to understand their model of the world. And it's critical that you're not doing a bunch of coaching at the early phases of this conversation. By the way, if you want to know exactly what I suggest you do on these coaching consultations, I'll put a card up there and I'll put a link down in the description that'll give you a template as close to a script as I suggest you use on these free consultation calls. So you give people this really powerful experience of what coaching is. And it breaks down what to say and when to say it on these calls. So in the very beginning, you're just seeking to understand, you're unlocking your childlike curiosity. What is it that they are expressing to you in their language, in their energy, in their body? How are they viewing the world all around them? What is it that they want to experience in this coaching call as well as potentially in a coaching program? So it's kind of like, imagine if you're just going to stand side by side with them so that you can see how they're seeing the world as much as possible. That way you can paint the picture of where it is they want to go and how you can support them to get there. But in this coaching consultation, you want to give them an experience of you being their guide, not you being the director of their life. People don't want to be told exactly what to do in a coaching context. Actually, people kind of do want to be told exactly what to do, but when you tell them exactly what to do, it actually leads to less intentional choice on their part. And you don't want to have to try to manipulate somebody to say yes to a coaching package. You want them to be excited about the co-creation process and the co-creation energy so that they choose you as their guide, not choose you as the answerer or the supplier of all of their questions. So you've got to get into conversations with people. The second thing is you need a clear offer. What is it that they could say yes to? And in your clarity of the offer, there needs to be some sort of framework. Now, there are all kinds of frameworks out there. There's so many different coaching modalities out there and concepts and philosophies. So you get to pick whatever philosophy matches the kind of coaching that you want to do, but you've got to give the client some sense of the illumination of a path. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to tell them on call number 1, we're going to do this, and call number 2, we're going to do this, and call number 3, we're going to do this. In fact, I think that's disrespectful to the whole idea of coaching humans. There's no way I can tell you what we're going to be talking about 3 weeks from now if the main variable is you. So they've got to be the main ingredient. Don't try to force them into some assembly line approach. When you explain to them that there's a framework, but inside the framework there's a lot of flexibility based on their personalized needs, people appreciate that. And I think not only do they appreciate it, but people are starting to demand that because they're tired of being stuffed into a box. All right, this is going to potentially be really irritating. In this case, I'm going to go back to before I wrote this word, but you know what? I just realized that doesn't look the same as it did before. Before the cut, this was a little hazy, and then after the cut, this was a little darker. So let's see if I can... Oh, that was worse. I tried to make it better and I made it way worse. You can guide them down, and then you're just experiencing or asking them or offering what? No cuss words. I'm going to hate this when it comes out. It looks so dark on the camera. Now you know I messed up and I had to erase this and make this whole thing dark. You know how irritating that is to a former teacher that actually used to use these chalkboards and everything needed to be nice and clean? Anyway, we're going to go for it. So essentially what you're doing on these free calls is you're giving them an experience of coaching, an experience of you and your energy. You're highlighting a particular path that you can guide them through, and then you're just offering them more. You're saying, here is an experience of my coaching. Do you want more of that? Up until now, I would say, in the marketing world, and it's going to continue for a while, people have been selling expectations. So the expectation is if you buy this product or if you buy this program, this is what you're going to experience. But so many people have either been taken advantage of or disappointed when the expectations that they purchased don't pan out. So instead of selling expectations, it's much easier now, and it will be, I think, a demand going forward in the market to offer people more of an experience they've already had rather than an expectation in their mind. Don't try to hold back. Don't try to just give them a little bit so they'll say yes and pay you a bunch of money. People can feel when you're withholding so that they purchase something. And for a long time, this was actually explicitly taught in the coaching market. You give them enough for them to pay you, but they have to pay you for the good stuff. My experience is when I stopped being concerned about what to give for free and what to give for a fee, what to make people pay for, people started to get more out of my free stuff, and they started to buy more of the things that I sold. And then when it comes to getting paid, here's my philosophy that a lot of people don't agree with. You know, we hear in the market, especially the coaching market all the time, like you got to get paid what you deserve. You got to get paid what you're worth. But how do you know that? How do you decide what you're worth? And you know what the biggest limiting belief is, especially for sensitive people that have had such a big, valuable experience in the coaching market that they want to be coaches? I'm not good enough. So if you're questioning your own value as a person, and then I tell you, put a dollar amount on that value, that's really difficult. So my philosophy is get paid. Become a professional coach, especially early on when you don't have as much certainty, you don't have as many testimonials or any testimonials, you don't have a lot of confidence, you haven't walked a paying client through your exercises enough to know that you can do this. The less certainty and confidence you have in yourself, the more flexible I suggest you be with your dollar amount. What you don't want is to try to sell your coaching at a dollar amount that you haven't bought yet. Either you haven't bought as a client paying a coach that dollar amount, or you haven't bought your own value yet. So if you show up and say, my coaching package costs this much, and you've got this like scared, uncertain sort of energy, they're going to pick up on that. And they're not going to be excited about buying something that you energetically haven't bought yourself. The third thing is, I don't know what the third thing is. Oh, okay. Certainty. I've already talked about this a little bit in this video. I've done several videos on certainty because I think energetically this is your most important asset. If you don't have certainty in yourself, if you don't have certainty in the process of coaching, if you don't have certainty in the prices, if you don't have certainty in the package, if you don't have certainty in any of those areas, the prospect will feel it. I don't want you to lean on your sales skills because most people who want to be coaches are not confident in their sales skills. They're not trained as salespeople, but they're just wanting to help. So don't lean on your sales skills, lean on the certainty that you can help people. And it feels more dignified. It feels clean. It feels clear. It's like, hey, this is what I have to offer. Let me give you this experience. And do you want to keep going? It's just that simple. You don't have to wrestle with overcoming objections and price comparisons and all these things that make most coaches just short circuit. Now, when it comes to certainty as a coach, especially as a transformational coach, I want to give you a distinction here that means everything to the prospects. The distinction is the behavior versus the behavior. Most of us are wrestling with our behaviors. We all know that we should exercise more, eat less, or eat better, and we'll be able to lose weight. We all know what we should do to give our bodies more of a feeling of vibrancy. We all have been taught the morning routines that we should do. We've all been taught how we should handle our money and manage our time. We've all been taught the how-to. But that's not what humans need to actually implement. It's not about manipulating the behavior. If it was, then all of us would just change our behaviors. What matters is the behavior. Who's the person at the center of the behavior? So if you're going to try to help somebody get over some fear of public speaking or fear of relationships or fear of visibility, don't give everybody the same recipe. Because the reason that one person is afraid of visibility could be completely different than the reason another person is afraid of visibility. So you've got to get good at understanding the person that's doing the behaving and then adjust your coaching accordingly. One of the most critical concepts when it comes to coaching humans is laws, not rules. You've got to understand how this human mind operates. What causes us to do the things that we do, and more importantly, what causes us to not do the things that we don't do, especially the things that we know we should do. So if you want to be a transformational coach, you've got to study the mind. You've got to study the brain. You have to understand the unconscious mind versus the conscious mind. You have to understand how beliefs work. You have to understand how internal conflicts work. You have to understand how trauma works. You've got to understand the machine, the whole machine, the embodiment, as well as the intellect of the human, if you want to change individuals' lives. That's transformational coaching. Now, I have my own online coaching certification. If you want to check it out, I'll put a card up there, and there's a link down in the description as well. If you want to really deep dive into helping humans shift, like really giving them a neurological transformation. Now, if you want help with any of this stuff, whether it's personal, you want help getting over one of your own hurdles, like the fear of sales or the fear of visibility, or it's more strategic, you want our support identifying marketing strategies or social media platforms or anything at all related to this coaching journey, sign up for a free, no obligation strategy consultation down there in the description, and we'll help you identify what your next step is. And I want to honor and acknowledge you for saying yes to coaching, no matter how far you are in the process right now. I think it's the most noble thing you can do with your life to help other people. And if you can make money at it and actually do this full time, then that would make most coaches in the industry happy campers. I'm just going to stop right there. Now, if you like this video, go watch that one. It's the entire first module of the Breakthrough Coaching Certification Program. You have to understand these foundational principles. You have to understand people. Specifically, you have to understand how the brain works, because essentially it's the thing that regulates all of our behavior. So